Division 3 final between Kilgary and Kildallan. Both teams are out on the field, so also is the referee Tony Brady from Castlerahan, and we'll give you a quick check on how the teams line out. First of all, the Kilgary team in the red and black. In goal, Mark Connaughton. The fullbacks are Pádraig Farley and Thomas Riley. The half-line, Kevin McDermott, Pádraig Cahill and Brian Smith. Midfield is Owen Smith, their captain, and Donald Thomas. The half-forwards are Gabriel McGovern, Andrew McGovern and Stephen McGovern. And the full forwards, Cahill Keeney and Patrick Galligan. In their white with the red trim and a variety of nicks are the Kildallan team, moving down from our right to take up their positions with Damien Brady in goal. The fullbacks are Sean Cooney and Sean Riley. The half-line, Alan Carroll, Stephen Smith and Shane O'Hara. Midfield is John O'Neill and Danny Connaughton, who's the captain. The half-forwards are Mark Doonan, Shane Carroll, Francis Murray, and the full forwards Rory McGovern and Brian Freehill. Now, the fact is that Francis Murray may well play in the full forward line wearing number 11, and Brian Freehill may play out in the half-forward line wearing number 13. That's how it looks at the moment as the teams go into line up. Mark Doonan is actually lining up on the left wing, and Brian Freehill lining up at the right half-forward position, wearing the number 13. Tony Brady checks his watch. The midfielders are lined up astride the halfway line. Very soon, this game will get underway. It's overcast. It's misty. There's that touch of autumn about it. Philip Finnegan is in the press box with me here, and during the course of the game, Philip will be giving his analysis. Before we start, Philip, what are we expecting?
I'd say, Tommy, it'll be a tight enough game. This is Kilgary's third final here in the last 3 months. They've been beaten in the under-16 league final, and they've been beaten in the minor league final, minor championship final. So for them, they're going for third time lucky. In fact, the two teams that beat them come from West Cavan. They're beaten by Drumlane and Temmercourt, and now we have Kildallan again. So it's West Cavan again for Kilgary.
And the game is underway. And it's John O'Neill who's trying to drive forward, but that ball was pulled on there by Pádraig Cahill. It's collected out there now as Danny Connaughton lays it back, and Mark Doonan tips it in now. Danny will lay it off to John O'Neill. John trying to make room to take the shot, takes the shot, sends it in, sends it out to the right of the goal on our left, and sends it wide. An early attack there from the Kildallan men. Well, Philip, you just said that West Cavan opposition has met and beaten Kilgary on 2 occasions. I don't think that superstition will set in here, because Andres McGovern will instill into them to forget about all that.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's a fine day for football. I know it's dark, it's overcast, but there's no wind, the pitch is dry. It's a fine game for football. No, Kilgary will go out and they'll hopefully just to break the hoodoo. But it's just remarkable to believe that West Cavan, which was so far back as regards coaching and underage, have come so far in the last 2 or 3 years. And it's great to see the teams from the west of the county doing well.
Here comes the kick. And that's got over the bar from Danny Connaughton. That's the opening score of the game, coming with just a little over a minute played in the first half. Our scoreboard men, Finian O'Hanlon and Joey MacDonald, I think they're here in all weathers. They're here today to provide us with that vital piece of information as Kildallan with Francis Murray laying the ball off, and now it's Shane Carroll who taps it inside. Kildallan come attacking, but that ball is knocked away from Brian Freehill, and now it's Thomas Riley's clearance was blocked down, and here comes John O'Neill for Kildallan from out on the right. He sends it wide. Kildallan have had 3 shots at the target. They've converted 1 out of 3 in the opening 2 minutes, but Kilgary yet to get the ball up the field.
Yeah, they haven't settled yet, the Kilgary boys, but it's interesting to see that John O'Neill is very impressive so far. He's playing centre field there, himself and Danny Connaughton, so maybe they're that little bit stronger at centre field.
And Danny brings that ball down, lays it off now, and Mark Doonan turning onto the left foot, dropping it in. That's knocked down inside, and the goalkeeper, Mark Connaughton, that's blocked down. It's gone out over the end line and gone wide as the forwards going in to block it down. Looking through the names here, it's interesting to see another generation of footballers, of footballing families coming through. We'll talk about that a little later as Brian Smith now lays the ball off. But John O'Neill nipping in front of Donald Thomas, and John O'Neill now for Kildallan, robbed and well robbed over there by Donald Thomas, who in turn was partially robbed. Now Donald will send the ball upfield, going across there, and collecting it was Andrew McGovern, feeding it inside. They're chasing back, and Sean Riley is back there, but the ball knocked away from him. Out near the end line is Sean Cooney, and Sean Cooney with the Kildallan clearance out over the sideline. So Killygarry now building up the attack is picked up by their captain Owen Smith, and Owen lobbing a high one in that's gone out to the left and gone wide. So with about 4 minutes played in the first half, the 1 point on the scoreboard, that one coming to Kildallan. And Philip, you said there's no breeze.
No.
Ground conditions are good after a good week.
Oh yeah, it's perfect. It's dry, and I said there's no wind. Killygarry are struggling to get the ball up. They should be scoring. I think they're a little bit nervous so far. A score or two will settle them down. But here to come again, but they're finding it hard to get the ball up the field at the moment.
Stephen McGovern dropping that one inside. Gabriel picking it up nicely. The shot from Gabriel. Oh, well, Damien Brady. It was almost a little bit of mishandling, but things fell kindly for him as Danny Connaughey gets the ball inside now, and it's Brian Freehill. Brian Freehill looking for support but doesn't get the support as Donald Thomas of Killygarry feeds the ball up to Gabriel McGovern. Gabriel is being tackled in there now by Alan Carroll, and now it's booted out, and it's Donald Thomas. It's broken away from him, but Owen Smith picks it up, and Owen Smith jabbing it up. That's a good ball into space. A lovely flick up from Patrick Galligan, being chased by Sean Riley. Patrick Galligan will float that one across to Cathal Keeney in front of goal. Keeney, the sharpshooter, sends it over their level. Now, we've seen Cathal Keeney at various levels, Philip, over the past few seasons. He's lethal when getting into positions like that.
He is. Unfortunately for Cathal, he broke his wrist playing for the Cavan on the 16s in the first game of the O'Reilly tournament against Westmeath, and he was out. He played in the final against Tamil Portrait. He wasn't fully fit. He's a fully fit man here today now, and he'll have a big bearing on the way this game goes today. That was a great ball across from the other corner forward, Patrick Galligan. He split the Kildallan defence with that ball, and Keeney finished it off well.
So it's even Stevens with 6 minutes played in the first half, and Damien Brady's kick out coming out to John O'Neill. John O'Neill trying to make space, going down the middle. Owen Smith, well, John slipping away, crossing the 45. That running ahead of him inside, and Shane Carroll tried to lay it back, but the Killygarry defence are equal to it, and it's been brought out now. The delivery coming up from Pádraig Cahill to Cathal Keeney. And Cathal Keeney, oh, that's a well-placed ball across there now to Andrew McGovern. Andrew trying to get round Stephen Smith. Stephen will do the chasing. Andrew lays it back there now. This is Stephen McGovern. Stephen McGovern's shot is going over the bar, and Killygarry lead by 2 points to 1 with 7 minutes played. From a Killygarry point of view, Philip, that's more like it.
That's more like it. They've seemed to settle down now. That's two good scores that they're getting there. When the game started, John O'Neill was very impressive, but since the ball went up to the Killygarry forwards, Kildallan are struggling to get the ball back down again. When the game started, O'Neill and Danny Connolly were very much in prominence, but they're struggling to get the ball out now.
Out it comes, and oh, that's a fine fielding, and Killygarry now with Andrew McGovern setting up another attack up to Patrick Galligan. Sean Riley will go across the challenge as Patrick Galligan chips the ball nicely in across. Andrew McGovern taking it, looking for the room to take the shot. It took a deflection. It's held in there by Damien Brady, the goalkeeper, and Damien Brady's stance is coming out. Field can John O'Neill chip it, and John O'Neill gets it now there, and Shane O'Hara feeds it way down for Brian Freehill. Brian Freehill A long ball inside. Oh, that's going to drop inside now for Shane Carroll. Shane Carroll with the shot from out the field. That's gone wide. Now, that will have to go down as a miss, Philip. There was no pressure on him. He lobbed in the shot, but missing the target.
Yeah, I mean, he got the great break. Unfortunately for the Kilgarry player that dropped the ball, it was right in his path there, and he should have done better there. As I say, the conditions are perfect. There's no wet breeze, and the pitch is dry. He should have put that ball over the bar.
So it remains 2 points to 1 with 8.5 minutes played in the first half, as we await the kick out from Mark Connaughty of Kilgarry. That will drop out around the 45-metre line, and Owen Smith to switch play across, nicely across to Stephen McGovern. Stephen McGovern will be chased there now by Shane O'Hara. It's Stephen McGovern working his way. Shane O'Hara has fouled him. And the free to Kilgarry. It looks like Patrick Galligan may be coming out to take it. This is about 35 metres or so out from the Kildallan goal. Ever so slightly to the left of it. Here comes the kick. Out to the right and gone wide, and it remains 2 points to 1. Damien Brady to take the kick out. One wonders if there might be a change of jersey for Damien. It's, well, somewhat similar in colour, though a brighter red to the Kilgarry jerseys. As Kildallan will try and bring that ball out of defence, and John O'Neill takes the pass from Sean Riley and working his way fast on the solo as John O'Neill still going, taking the shot, dropping it in, and it's dropping out. It's good work by Thomas Riley back there on the goal line. Now that was a vital stop. This is Brian Freehill. He handled the ball on the ground. Philip, that was a very important piece of defensive work from Thomas Riley.
It was a great run by John O'Neill. John, so far, he's the most impressive player on the team. That was a run of about 60 yards. He went by 2 players. The goalkeeper for Kilgarry, Mark Conley, he's very lucky. His back was there to save him. It was a ball, but when goalkeepers drops balls, you know, it's danger.
It can be danger. Right now, Patrick Galligan is about to take a Kilgarry free way up here to our right. Coming back off the post, and Shane O'Hara collecting, and Shane now for Kildallan, sending it down the field. Danny Connaughty's kick is partially blocked down, but Danny may get the space to pick the ball up, lay it off for John O'Neill, and John this time decides to let the ball do the travelling as he drops it right down in there. Francis Murray will chase after it. Pádraig Farley will chase after him as they battle for it out near the corner flag. And it's Francis Murray. Referee has blown the whistle. And the outstretched arms indicating that the ball had gone over the end line. So the kick out will come from Mark Connaughty. It remains 2 points to 1. We approach the 12th minute of the first half. It started very, very lively in the first couple of minutes, but it seems to have just dropped back a cog or so. Out comes the kick out. Knocked down out there, and it's Owen Smith. Feeding it up to Stephen McGovern. Good running there from centre-back Pádraig Cahill. And Pádraig going forward towards the 45 and crossing the 45-metre line. Shane O'Hara is after him. Pádraig Cahill drops it in, and it's held in there by Damien Brady, but the referee had already blown up. Shane O'Hara's free. Comes out the field now to Danny Connaughty. Down now towards Mark Doonan. Push in the back there, Kevin McDermott, the offender. That's nicely collected in there now by Rory McGovern. Rory battling to hold on to possession. And the free is to Kildallan down there by the sideline. It's Danny Connolly, the Kildallan captain, who's going to take the kick close to the 45-metre line. That's very well held inside there, and Shane Carroll's kick is partially blocked down. Now, John O'Neill picking that one up, and John O'Neill's shot has gone over the bar, and the sides are level with 13.5 minutes played in the first half at 2 points apiece. A ball that looked to be on its way out somehow got into the possession of John O'Neill. He was a good 35 to 40 metres out, and a well-struck point, Philip.
It's a great score so far in the first 50 minutes. He's by far the most impressive player. Very early in the game, he played very well. Then that great run there and that score there shows he can kick as well as everything else. So if Killygarry now want to make moves to try to curtail him, there he is again.
And John O'Neill once more will lob the ball down towards Danny Connolly. Connolly now trying to work his way in, and Danny Connolly with the shot. Coming back there now to Rory McGovern in the parallelogram, trying to get through. Over travelling, free out. Out it comes to Padraig Cahill. And Padraig getting up now towards Gabriel McGovern. Alan Carroll into challenge. Alan, who has also kept goal for Kildallan on a number of occasions. This is Owen Smith going forward. Owen Smith has been chased all the way by Danny Connolly. Still Owen Smith going for the shot and into the net. That was a tremendous run. The time 14.5 minutes.
It was great individual goal by Owen Smith. He got the chance, he kept going. Danny Connolly kept after him, but Owen was strong. I'd say after the first 2 or 3 steps, he decided he'd go for the goal. And he stuck it very well, low into the left-hand corner, and gave Damien Brady no chance to save it.
And here come Killygarry once more as their captain Owen Smith will drop that ball inside. That's going to bounce. There's danger here for Kildallan. Here comes the shot. And that's another goal, and it's Patrick Galligan right into the top corner. So 2 goals in a minute, Philip. That's some turnabout.
Well, it's the glass sun that we saw here at Templeport and Nugent, and Templeport were getting the goals. To me, Kildallan were very much on top of this game, but 2 goals like that, it really sets you back. And you see now there's 6 points in it now, and Killygarry are in the driving seat. It's up to themselves now.
Out it comes. So what can Danny Connolly, the Kildallan captain, do about that scoreline? It's tapped down. John O'Neill trying to make the room to pick it up and succeeds in doing so. He's fouled, and Tony Brady, the referee, about to take a little note there. A quick word with Andrew McGovern. Now, Kildallan had goal chances in the first 12 or 13 minutes. They didn't take them. Killygarry took them.
That's the difference, John. And just from the first 50 minutes, I believe that Kildallan are a bit stronger centre field, John O'Neill and Danny Connolly. But Owen Smith getting that goal there now, he really kind of said to the boys, okay, you can play football, but I can get the goals. And Killygarry, it's a great springboard for them to go on to victory. We've just seen how Kildallan cope with this.
Kildallan have got the free, and it's Danny Connolly who's going to take it. 20-metre line right in front of the goal. And with almost 17 minutes played, it's 2-2 to 3 points in favour of Killygarry. Down on the line, I see Emmett Curry and Jim Carroll. They're working out what they might do with these Kildallan lads. Meanwhile, Desi Cahill and Thomas Leonard and Andreas McGovern would be the happier management set at this stage. Earlier I mentioned about some of the names that were coming through, and names that I would know well, particularly on the Kildallan side. Well, the names of the Carrolls. Their father Jim, so long starred for Kildallan. Francis Murray, his father Noel, his uncle Frank, and the late Hugh. They all wore the Kildallan jersey with pride and distinction. We'll follow others as we go along, but it's right now we'll follow Danny Connolly in possession. And a good point from Danny Connolly. Now that's a great response from Kildallan.
Yeah, after 2 goals, Danny Connolly there now, he's after, that's the second point. That was a fine score there now, and he's kind of put them back into the game. They need those scores badly to settle themselves again. This game isn't over by a long, long way, but if Killygarry keep getting goals like they did in the last couple of minutes, then Kildallan will have a problem.
So we await the kick out from Mark Connaughty. There's just over 18 minutes played in the first half. Out towards the middle of the field, it's knocked down. And that's Pádraig Farley, but that's lobbed inside for Shane Carroll to run onto, but Thomas Riley is back there, and Thomas coming out, jabbing the ball out the field. Danny Connaughty will pick it up for Kildallan, and Danny floating it right across John O'Neill, waiting to see where the break is. The break may or may not come for Kildallan. In fact, it's picked up in there now, and Killygarry managing to clear the lines. Stephen Smith was fouled as he gets to it. That's another name that would have a very familiar ring to it in Kildallan colours, because Stephen is the son of Peter. That's swinging out towards the right, bouncing about in there and bouncing out over the end line and going wide. The kick out, held by Kildallan's Danny Connaughty. Dropped right inside, and the goalkeeper, Mark Connaughty of Killygarry, that clearance is going to come close to the sideline, and John O'Neill content to let it roll out over the sideline and take the line ball. Well, he won't. He'll leave it to Alan Carroll. A giveaway, Alan. Owen Smith. Owen up now to Andrew McGovern. Great blocking down there by Stephen Smith. Stephen, a nice crossfield ball now to Brian Freehill, into John Connaughty. A nice step away from John O'Neill, that was. And John O'Neill, oh, that's a great score from John O'Neill.
It's a fine score. I mean, Kildallan have come right back since the 2 goals. They got on top. They're getting 3 great points there. John O'Neill has a fine prospect there. He's playing a great game of football. The Killygarry goalkeeper, Mark Connolly, he's living on the edge there. The second ball he's dropped, he got away with it, but I mean, sometime he just might be caught. He's probably a little bit nervous so far, but he should settle himself. That's the second ball he's after dropping.
There's 21 minutes played in the first half. It's 2-2 to Killygarry. It's 5 points to Kildallan. And it's Gabriel McGovern, and comes off Alan Carroll, back to Gabriel McGovern. Now, Andrew McGovern up to Cathal Keaney. Sean Cooney into challenge. Free, which Cathal Keaney takes and sends quickly inside to Patrick Galligan. Galligan now trying to get away from Sean Riley. Ball is knocked inside. Damien Brady coming out with it. And Damien with the long clearance down towards the line. That's knocked out over the line. The linesman flagging, and the line ball being given to Killygarry, but it's being contested down there. It's Owen Smith who's going to take the sideline kick. Sean Riley comes across, and Sean trying to find room to get a way out, over holding the ball, and the free in to Killygarry. Cathal Keaney will be the kicker, and speaking of names following through in football, Cathal, the son of County Board Chairman Brendan Keaney. Here comes the kick, and it's gone over the bar with 22.5 minutes played in the first half. 5 points to Kildallan, 2 goals and 3 points to Killygarry. As Damien Brady prepares to take the kick out. off the fingertips of Stephen Smith, and then it was Donald Thomas who sent it inside Patrick Galligan. Galligan trying to get away from Sean Riley. Still Patrick Galligan, he lays it back to Andrew McGovern. Andrew McGovern now with the shot. Andrew sends it over the bar. 2 goals and 4 to 5 points.
Yeah, it's a funny game because Kildallan were on top there since the goals were scored, and now in the last 5 minutes it's been Kilgarry on top. The Kilgarry full forward line of Carl Keaney and Patrick Gallagher are very, very dangerous. If Kilgarry get that ball in there, I can see more goals. Now Kildallan have a problem, but Kildallan are that little bit stronger centre field, but when the ball goes into their back line, the Kilgarry are very dangerous.
Out towards the middle it comes, and John O'Neill rolling it on, keeping it nicely in play down along the sideline. Will need support. Mark Doonan was there to support him. Still John O'Neill in possession, getting away from a number of Kilgarry players, and John from out the field sending it high. That is tremendous scoring, Philip Finnegan.
I've seen a lot of players lately, but that man has real potential there. He's shown he can catch the ball, he can kick the ball, he can solo. He's very athletic looking. He's a great prospect. If Kilgarry lose it, that man will be the main reason. He's out there. He's getting great support from his captain, Danny Connolly. But today now he's on his game. He's unbelievable. That's 3 great scores after getting.
So here comes the kick, and as we check through it, it's the midfielders who have scored for Kildallan, Philip. None of the forwards as yet have scored. So 3 points each from their midfielders. That totals their 6. There was a foul in there now on the 30-metre line. This should be a very, very simple tap-over score for the Kilgarry lads. And Patrick Galligan says thank you as he taps that one over. 2-5 to 6 points. We've played just a little with 25 minutes in the first half. We await the kick out from Damien Brady. Owen Smith collects for Kilgarry, and Owen Smith feeding it out, asking Patrick Gallagher to chase after it, but the chase is in vain. Sean Riley will take the sideline kick. Meanwhile, Stephen Smith has got to do up about Les. That's fed down. But Kilgarry, well, Andrew McGovern bundled over there by Stephen Smith as Kilgarry were about to set up an attack. So Stephen getting the yellow card from Castlerahan's Tony Brady. This the first stoppage we've had in this game, Philip. It's been pretty free-flowing, and let me say Tony is doing a fine job on it.
He's doing a fine job and it's free-flowing, but both teams are playing football. That was the first, I'd say that was an awkward tackle more than, say, a dirty tackle, but it has been free-flowing and both teams are out to play football.
And here's a great footballer in Patrick Galligan. That coming off the post, Patrick unlucky with that shot. So Damien Brady will take the Kildallan kick out. Swinging it out. Well positioned there was Danny Connaty, but that was partially blocked. Danny tried to chip it on, but Brian Smith was there to intercept. Brian Smith defeated up to Patrick Galligan. Sean Riley in with the challenge as Patrick Galligan will try to set up Andrew McGovern in now to Donald Thomas, and Donald Thomas will send it high, dropping in. Pulled down in there by Damien Brady, the goalkeeper, and Damien clearing it into space. Owen Smith comes across for Kilgarry, trying to slip away there from Mark Doonan, up to Cathal Keeney. Keeney as Sean Cooney puts in the challenge. Still Cathal Keeney, a nice layoff, and Donald Thomas with the shot, and Donald Thomas with the point. Killygarry are picking off good scores for them.
That's a good score. It's just remarkable. The Kildallan forwards haven't scored yet. The 6 points have come from the two centre field players. The Killygarry backline are playing well. Although Owen Smith now, he's his hands full with John O'Neill. That is the battle of the game out there with both guys. If John O'Neill gets going, he's a fair player. Owen Smith's playing very well. But back here, Killygarry are very tight. As regards up front, the full forward line of Carl Keeney and Galligan are very impressive.
So John O'Neill to run onto that for Kildallan. They had the lead pulled back to 3. It's stretched to 6 again. That's going to be dealt with in there by Mark Connaughty, the goalkeeper, and it may come out for Kildallan possession, but Donald Thomas says no, and Donald Thomas doing well to win that for Killygarry. Back there now is Owen Smith, and Owen Smith sending a long ball way up there now. Patrick Galligan racing way out to it, 45-metre line. There's a new marker on Patrick Galligan. I see Alan Carroll has gone across to take up that task, and Sean Riley dropping it, but Stephen Smith is there, and Stephen Smith will feed the ball out. Now it's Danny Connaughty in to John O'Neill. Alan Carroll has been switched into the cornerback position in a switch with Sean Riley, who's come out into the half line, and that's going to go on over the end line and go wide. We're coming close to that half-time whistle. Tony Brady has been checking the times. Those two Killygarry goals that came within a minute of each other. That's what separates the sides heading to the break, Philip.
At the moment, yeah, the two goals make the difference. They're fairly even, but I'd have to say that the Killygarry backline are very, very tight. And I'm saying that Kildallan are that will stronger centre field, but they're going over up there. And as regards Killygarry, the full forward line, Patrick Galligan and Cathal Keeney are very effective.
And right now it's Gabriel McGovern in possession. Patrick Galligan had won the ball initially. Stephen Smith brings that one down. And there goes the half-time whistle. And so at half-time here in Breffni Park in Cavan, in this Farnham Arms sponsored under-16 Division 3 Championship final, it's 2 goals and 6 points to the lads in red and black of Killygarry. The white and red of Kildallan have got 6 points. So the second half about to get underway. And Kildallan now with Danny Connolly breaking away, being tackled by Donald Thomas. Inside it goes. Kevin McDermott is there to clear it out. Now it's Andrew McGovern. Andrew across to Stephen. Stephen McGovern knocking it down, but the ball breaking away, and it's Stephen Smith who picks it up, and Stephen going forward for Kildallan now coming up from centre half back, turning onto the left foot, kicking it high but kicking it wide, and it remains 2-6 to 6 points. So Mark Connolly about to kick out. Out it comes. Shane Carroll didn't hold, but John O'Neill there will chip it back to Danny Connolly. Danny laid inside to Brian Freehill. Brian Freehill turns. Brian Freehill shot is off the post, and it has gone wide. So a couple of attacks there at the start of the second half for Kildallan. And, well, look, doesn't seem to be with the Kildallan forwards, Philip.
No, not today. They're on top there, as I say, centre field with John O'Neill and Danny Connolly, but the forwards aren't not just penetrating. That was the second chance there by Brian Field was a clear-cut chance. He was lucky he hit the post, but they need a few scores to get back into this game.
That comes out, and it's Owen Smith who gets it, and that will come to Donald Thomas. Donald Thomas, the long delivery, way down, feeding down to us, Cahill Keeney. Cahill, oh, great ball into Andrew McGovern, going through the middle, going for the score, taking the shot, sending it over.
That's a great score. That's the long ball from Thomas down to Kinney and the layoff. I mean, that's coaching coming into football. The long ball straight down to Kinney. He didn't think twice. Gave it to Andrew McGovern. That's a fine score. That'll lift Killygarry now, no end.
So with their attack, they've registered a score to put them 7 points in front, and here comes Kildallan's Stephen Smith feeding it out towards Mark Doonan, and Mark now way up there, but Padraig Cahill will go across, and Padraig picking it up, working his way out. Down through the middle it comes. Shane O'Hara couldn't hold it. Stephen McGovern is there. Stephen McGovern will roll that one out, and that's nicely picked up. And Andrew McGovern sending it in, sending it over the bar. So there's 2 good scores in the space of a couple of minutes from Andrew McGovern. That's put Killygarry 8 points in front. They're really in the driving seat now, Philip.
They're in the driving seat now, and all they have to do is just hold the position, compose themselves to get there. I still think that Kildallan are that little bit stronger centre field, but to counteract that, the Killygarry backline is very, very strong.
And Stephen McGovern picking it up. Right into the middle for Donald Thomas. Donald Thomas dropping it in. That's going to bounce out to the left and go wide. And looking down there at the flags along the sideline, there seems to be a bit of a breeze whipping up that is favouring Killygarry in the second half.
Yeah, that's just come in the last 10-15 minutes there. So it is favouring Killygarry. So I think Kildallan now, they need a score, and they need it badly. I'd say they need a goal. Let's get them back in. They're struggling now. There's
conceding possession.
Yeah. At the start of the game, Danny would have got rid of that ball. They're struggling now a little bit centre field. Owen Smith and Donald Thomas are coming right into the game.
And Owen now lobs the ball inside. That takes a deflection. Oh, that's a great knockdown by Stephen Smith. Diving on it is Damien Brady, the goalkeeper. There's a free out, and the free is taken quickly out to John O'Neill. John now being chased by Owen Smith. Sometimes the solo lets him down. He drives that ball inside, but Padraig Cahill sound at centre half. Dispossessed there by Brian Freehill. The ball knocked away from Freehill. Owen Smith doing well for Killygarry, picking it up, and Owen Smith, that's a great delivery to the unmarked Andrew McGovern. Andrew feeding it inside for Patrick Galligan. There's a goal on here.
Great goal. Oh, great goal. Andrew McGovern's having in the second half. He's played out there on the 40. That was a great ball into Patrick Galligan. Kildallan are slipping now. That's scoring 3 scores in the second half there now. They really killed off Kildallan. Kildallan have a major task on their head now to pull this game back.
Out comes the kick out. And John O'Neill collects, and John O'Neill sends it up the field. That's bouncing inside, but again the Killygarry defence with Kevin McDermott, and now with midfielder Donald Thomas again for the on-running Andrew McGovern, really opening up in the second half into Cathal Keeney. Space for Keeney to run into. Keeney still going on. His way is partially blocked. Turning out of the left foot and sending it over the bar. It's all Killygarry at the moment, Philip.
Yeah, they've just, after the first minute or so in the second half, when Kildallan kicked 2 wides, it's been all Killygarry. They've really stole a march on the game here, and they're way ahead now. There's
12 points in it.
12 points, oh, it's a lot to pull back. I can't see Kildallan doing it.
6 minutes played in the second half. Shane O'Hara didn't hold on to it, and Owen Smith. Down it goes again to Patrick Galligan. Alan Carroll is there. That's coming towards the sideline. Not quite. John O'Neill doing well. Back in there to Alan Carroll. Alan Carroll, the short jab. But the ball picked up there now by Donald Thomas of Killygarry. Into Gabriel McGovern. Gabriel McGovern inside. They're unmarked inside again. It's Andrew. It has to be. It's goal number 4.
It's only like a whitewash here at the moment. Kildallan really want to compose themselves. They're being ripped apart at the minute between Andrew McGovern, Cathal Keeney and Patrick Galligan. And it doesn't look good at the moment now.
Apart from around the middle of the field, Killygarry are on top in all other positions, defence and attack. They're first to the ball, and they're in possession with Gabriel McGovern. Not quite, as Sean Riley now gets it for Kildallan, and Sean getting the ball up towards Brian Freehill. Oh, that's going to be blocked down. It is blocked down. It's out over the sideline. Brian Smith was coming in, checked the Kildallan attack. Shane O'Hara jabs the ball now to Danny Connaughty, and again the block down coming. Now Stephen McGovern laid it off to Donald Thomas, and Donald Thomas in again towards Patrick Galligan. Nice interception by Alan Carroll. Alan Carroll way up the field. Thomas Riley going out, pulling on it for Killygarry, down to Andrew McGovern. Andrew now inside to Donald Thomas, back out to the on-running Andrew. Thought about it. Stephen Smith there, but Andrew back to Donald Thomas. Now comes the shot, dropping in. Galligan inside underneath it. Alan Carroll is there, and Alan Carroll with the clearance. That's not going to come very far. But going back there now is Shane O'Hara. We've played almost 8 minutes of the second half, and O'Hara to roll the ball out. Now it's Danny Connaughty. Danny laid it off to John O'Neill. It's a huge task for Kildallan. 4-9 to 6 points. That's the scoreline they're facing. And with the Killygarry defence and Kevin McDermott dominating, as Andrew McGovern will set up another attack. Andrew inside, Alan Carroll. Now Tony Brady is calling in the physio because Andrew McGovern has gone down. He's taken a knock. It's drinks for Gabriel McGovern as one of the management team, Andreas McGovern, comes in to take the opportunity to get some liquid to his players. Andrew is up and okay. The game is about to restart. Tony Brady will throw the ball up. Up it goes between Sean Riley. It comes down. It was Sean Riley and Gabriel McGovern. That's Cathal Keeney to run onto it and to deflect it into the net. Now that is lethal finishing, Philip.
It's lethal finishing. I don't know if the goal counts. Tony, I think he's put it in. It's always lethal finishing. It's a long ball to Cathal Keeney.
There's one of the Kildallan players down now. I didn't see what happened. I was following the flight of the ball.
And as was I don't know what happened there now. The goalkeeper's gone out. We'll have to see in a moment. Tony saw the player take a wallop when he threw the ball in, and Keeney was at the end of it. It was lethal finishing, but the goal probably will stand.
The kick-out will is from the 20-metre line. Sean Riley is up and on his feet. So it's 5 goals and 9 points to Kildallan, 6 points, and we've played just about 9.5 minutes of the second half. So the hoodoo of West Cavan teams has well and truly been buried here in Breffni Park, Philip.
It is at the moment. It's a massive start. They're at the scoring 3-3 in 9 minutes. You know, and to put the game out of sight, all Kildallan can do now is damage limitation. That's it. I can't see winning this unless Killygarry fold altogether. I can't see that.
Up it comes, and as yet the Kildallan men haven't scored in the second half, and as yet their forwards haven't registered a score, as Pádraig Cahill's attempt is intercepted there by Stephen Smith, and Brian Smith is there to intercept for Killygarry, now to Owen Smith. Owen Smith dropping it down, Alan Carroll underneath it, and Alan Carroll will jab the ball out now. Missed there by Stephen Smith, picked up by Stephen McGovern, laid off inside. Now this is Andrew McGovern. Andrew booting that one down for Gabriel to run onto. Great positioning from the Killygarry forwards. Gabriel McGovern looking for support, turning inside, going it into Cathal Keeney. Is there another one? It's just clipped past the post. It got a deflection there for the 45. But Killygarry, they're doing as they please at the moment, Philip.
Yeah, Kildallan unfortunately, they just flopped. They can't get the ball out of defence. Andrew McGovern playing on the 40, he's really opening them up. And Cathal Keeney and Patrick Galligan, they have the skill to take the scores.
And Donald Thomas,
another point score.
Another great score. That now with just over 11 minutes played in this second half. It's a QH score of 5 goals and 10 points to Kildallan's 6 points. The Killygarry management team down there on the sideline, and I think with a scoreline like this, they will probably rest some of their players and introduce some other squad members to give them the pleasure of playing in this final. Andrew, back to Gabriel. That's just going to skim the upright. But Kildallan have this huge problem of not being able to get the ball up the field.
No, it's amazing the way games go. In the first half there, John O'Neill and Danny Connolly, I thought they were on top. The second half, there's no doubt about it. Owen Smith and Donald Thomas, they really ruled the roost. The ball's going into Andrew McGovern, who's the playmaker, and Keeney, Cathal Keeney and Patrick Galligan. They're really, they're ripping Kildallan apart. I don't know what Kildallan can do. They've made no move at the moment. Maybe they haven't got players to move. There you go again. The Killygarry defence is way on top.
And Pádraig Cahill, probably the smaller of the half-back line, playing in the middle, but he's a real effective player, and Patrick Gallagher will chase after that. But Damien Brady decides to fly kick it. Out it comes, but this is Stephen McGovern. Now to Owen Smith, and Owen Smith kicking from way out the field, missing the target. But when you've got 5-10 on the board, and we're 13 minutes into the second half, now I think I see a Killygarry sub warming up. I did suggest that they might use a few subs in this game. Right now, Kildallan will try and do something about it, but Thomas Riley is going back there to pick it up for Killygarry, to jab it out to Donald Thomas. And Donald Thomas downfield, Alan Carroll comes across, gets the ball outfield now to Danny Connolly, up to Brian Freehill. Brian Freehill will lob it inside. Shane Carroll, Shane trying to round his man, dropping it in, and Pádraig Farley will pick it up and clear it out. Rory McGovern of Kildallan going out to pick it up. In now to Danny Connolly, back to Rory McGovern. Thomas Riley after him. That's laid down for Mark Doonan. Doonan turning, dropping it in, sending it wide. That sums it up. A lot of hard work, nothing at the end of it.
It sums it all up, and it sums up that the Kildallan forward line haven't scored. Now, it's a massive achievement for Killygarry, especially in the first half, when, as I say, Kildallan centre field were on top, but now there's just no chance. They should have got a few scores early on in the game in the second half. Kilgarry came in and scored a massive 3-3 in 10 minutes and really wiped them out of it. So as I said before, Tommy, it's damage limitation at this stage.
So will you wait on the kick out from Mark Cannity? And Pádraig Cahill will lay the ball off to Brian Smith. In now to Donald Thomas. Donald will lob it in. Alan Carroll is there, and Alan Carroll to feed the ball out to John O'Neill. John O'Neill laying it off now for Danny Cannity. O'Neill running alongside him. Still Cannity going. Chipping it, that's going to the left, and that's got a deflection for the 45. So the chance for Kildallan to attack the Killygarry goal. We are halfway through the second half, Philip. The pace of the game has, slowed considerably, and, excitement isn't at a very high level. It will be for Killygarry, they're winning well.
Well, Killygarry are happy, yeah. I mean, the first 10 minutes, it was such an explosive start, 3-3, and while Kildallan are getting back into the game a wee bit, I think Kildallan have a good move there to put Alan Carroll centre half. He's curbed Andrew McGovern in the last 5 minutes, but they've too much to do.
Yes, that's the third position for Alan Carroll in the game. He started at wing back, he was moved to corner, he's now at centre half. Brian Freehill losing out there now as the ball is played out by Pádraig Cahill out to Andrew McGovern, and Andrew, he's a very difficult player to mark. Down it goes to Gabriel McGovern. Gabriel back for Andrew McGovern. Inside towards Patrick Galligan. And Galligan now to try to get away. Stephen Smith has gone back into the cornerback position. Like we said, Killygarry are introducing subs. John Conroy is 14 on our list. I think it's Stephen McGovern who is, we'll check it out. I think it's Stephen. Yes, it's Stephen who's coming off, but Stephen certainly played his part in this Killygarry victory. We'll class it a victory at this stage because Patrick Gallagher has had it yet another. It's 5-11 to 6 points. Out it comes. Now Danny Cannity. Up to Brian Freehill. Inside for John O'Neill, but John dispossessed, and Owen Smith knocked away by John O'Neill. Kildallan with almost 80 minutes played in the second half, looking for their opening score of the half, but with defending like that inside, that score still eluding them. Thomas Riley was fouled.
John Conroy replaces the head Stephen McGovern.
Well, the free is in fact going to Kildallan, and Danny Cannity is going to take it. That's gone over. It's taken just over 18 minutes as Danny with the free. That's 4 for him today and 3 for John O'Neill. As Mark Cannity's kick comes out to Brian Smith, and Brian Smith way downfield now. Gabriel McGovern coming across, leaving it behind momentarily. Sean Riley trying to pick it up for Kildallan, and Sean succeeding in doing so. Lays it off to Shane Carroll. Shane now being chased by Owen Smith, and Kildallan get the free. Shane Carroll, but that's a giveaway. Porrick Cahill coming out with it. Porrick laying it off there now for Donald Thomas, and had made himself available. In it goes to Patrick Galligan. Galligan slipping away from Stephen Smith. Galligan with the shot. That's gone wide, but 5-11 to 7 with about 10 minutes left. They can afford that luxury, Philip.
They can. They really come on top there. As I say, the first point for Kildallan in the second half took 18 minutes. Once again it was from a free, and once again it was from the captain, Danny Connery. The forward line, Kildallan's forward line, never functioned today. And it's a great credit to the Killygarry back line. They've shut them down in all areas, the whole 5 players. They just have no answer.
And here comes the attack again with Andrew McGovern. And that's gone over the bar. Killygarry all the way out have performed so well, I wouldn't like to be the one who would be asked to pick man of the match.
No, man of the match there, it'd be very hard because it's a great team performance, as you say, from the goalkeeper out. But Andrew McGovern in the second half, and especially the first 10 minutes, he really opened it up. And Kildallan have put in Shane Carroll to try and cover him, but he's a fine player. That's a fine score he got there. But it'd be hard to name a man of the match there now.
As Andrew once again will feed it down to Cahill Keeney. Sean Cooney will go into challenge, but Cahill Keeney will turn and lob that one in. There's good position inside, and that's the substitute, John Conroy. And John anxious to get in on the act. He gets in on the act, sending it over the bar. There's 21 minutes played. It's 5-13 to 7 points. It's, well, you described it as a whitewash earlier on. The lads in white are really being whitewashed.
Ah, yeah, the goals really killed them off altogether. Like a brace of goals early, middle through the first half, and then those 3 goals. Like it break the heart of any team, and Killygarry just going from strength to strength.
And they come forward with Owen Smith, and Owen Smith with the shot off the crossbar. Perhaps Damien Brady might have got a hand to it as well. But, well, Killygarry doing very much as they please with just over 8 minutes left in the game. Now, I see Andres McGovern with the notebook out again, and I'm sure they will introduce another sub. Miles Riley is 15 an hour list. He's the player that's limbering up. Philip will check that out. Brian Freehill missing the bounce, and Brian Smith of Killygarry getting the ball inside once again to Andrew McGovern. What a game he's having. In now to Patrick Galligan. Galligan now to, oh, that's intercepted in there by Shane O'Hara. Gets it out to Alan Carroll. Alan Carroll up for Brian Freehill, but the ball is once again knocked away, and it's Porrick Cahill. I mentioned his centre-back performance, and here he comes linking up now with his captain Owen Smith. Now Danny Connolly to intercept there for Kildallan, and Danny Connolly up now to Shane Carroll. Shane Carroll trying to get away, feeding the ball inside. This is Mark Doonan. Doonan rolls it in, and the goalkeeper deflects it out. It's gone out for the 45. No sign of any changes in the Kildallan team as yet. And Porrick Cahill will feed the ball out to Donald Thomas. Down the field it comes to Gabriel McGovern. Nicely down to Cahill Keeney. A cross-field ball into space, and that space will be filled first by a Killygarry player, none other than Andrew McGovern. Down into the corner. Now for Patrick Galligan. In the dressing room, when the question was superstition was asked, he said he wanted to wear number 13. Out it comes. Danny Connolly lays it off to John O'Neill. John O'Neill. John being urged on. There's about 6 minutes left in the game. And that comes back off the crossbar. Out now to Mark Doonan. Chipped it to Rory McGovern. Rory McGovern floats it in, and it's held in there by Mark Connolly, the goalkeeper. Out the field it will come. Danny Connolly for Kildallan. Still Danny Cannity. But once again, the Killygarry defence equal to anything that's thrown at them. Thomas Riley to Donald Thomas. Donald Thomas down now. Gabriel McGovern tapping it on. Alan Carroll is there. And Alan Carroll, there's two Killygarry subs getting ready. Right now it's Brian Freehill of Kildallan. Right across into the middle. But Kevin McDermott is there with Kevin for Killygarry. John O'Neill on the halfway line for Kildallan. A long one inside. Shane Carroll knocked it down. It's Porrick Cahill to pick it up, and Porrick Cahill's clearance coming out to Donald Thomas. And Donald Thomas to set up a Killygarry attack to Patrick Galligan. Galligan, Stephen Smith after him. Still Galligan trying to break away. Gabriel McGovern in support. Gabriel McGovern's shot stopped in there by goalkeeper Damien Brady. Coming soloing out with it. And Damien out the field. That will run for John O'Neill. 4.5 minutes left in the game. In it goes to Mark Doonan. And, well, Philip, we said it before, the forward shooting has summed it up. Now, Miles Riley and Gavin McGovern are going into the game for Killygarry. We suggested that they would use as many of their squad as they could in this one. They've done that.
Oh yeah, I mean they're well on top. It's just a matter of giving a few boys a game to get it, to sample the final and to win it. And it's great for them. As I said, this is the third game, third final. So hopefully,
it's Porrick Farley and Gabriel McGovern are coming up to a tremendous round of applause. If they've done their day's work and done it well, as Donald Thomas comes forward with it, and Donald dropping it in, sending it wide. There's about 3.5 minutes left in the game. Gabriel has been replaced in attack, and Porrick Farley has been replaced in defence. Out comes the kick. And Kildallan now with Shane O'Hara. Inside it goes to Brian Freehill. A sub in the Kildallan team. This is Brian Freehill trying to go forward. The kick is blocked down inside. Callum Cairns in now to Mark Doonan, but it didn't fall for him, and Thomas Riley will clear it way down the field. Gavin McGovern now.
Gavin McGovern replaced Porrick Farley and Gabriel McGovern, and Colin Hill has been put on to the Kildallan team.
As Andrew McGovern's kick is blocked down by Alan Carroll. Just over 2 minutes left in the game. 5 goals and 14 points to 7 points. As John O'Neill loses out to Owen Smith. The applause from the Killygarry supporters beneath us. That's Donald Thomas. Donald Thomas inside, very well collected by Andrew McGovern. Still going forward. Free to Killygarry. And we mentioned hoodoos. We've mentioned them a few times, but if ever a hoodoo was buried by anybody, well, certainly it's been buried today, Philip.
that's right. Our second half with Killygarry has been unbelievable. At half time, there's only 2 goals in it, and now you see it's 5-15 to 7 points. Kildallan only got 1 point in the second half, a salary point from their captain, Mark Connerty, or Danny Connerty. So it just shows how much Killygarry were on top.
So here comes Danny once more. As Mark Doonan inside now to Colin Cairns, laying it back to Mark Doonan. And Kildallan get the free. We've moved into the final minute of the game. It's Owen Smith who will be receiving the cup. So no change on the score sheet. The seconds ticking away. Brian Freehill trying to lay the ball inside, but Donald Thomas is there, and Donald Thomas now for Killygarry. Tony will not add on much. There were a couple of stoppages, not very lengthy, as Stephen Smith grabs that for Kildallan, and Stephen Smith to boot the ball out. It's Danny Canity. Danny to feed it up, but Porrick Cahill now taking the pass from Brian Smith. Across now to Donald Thomas. We're in stoppage time as Donald Thomas lobs it in. Shane O'Hara to clear it out. Killygarry will relaunch their attack. Here it goes to Patrick Galligan. And Galligan to send it over the bar. 5-16 to 7. I think this kick out could well put Kildallan out of their agony. Tony Brady looks as if he's going to call for the ball. He's called for the ball. 5 goals and 16 points to 7 points the scoreline. And we'll make our way down for the presentation.
On behalf of the minor board, I'd like to congratulate both teams on a good sport in this day. It went a bit one-sided in the second half, but nevertheless we're taking a great sport in manner. I'd like to congratulate both clubs, their management, in the Stacey Carroll, that's over Killygarry, and Jimmy Carroll, that's over the other team. So, congratulations. A good sporting game, as I said, did at a good pace. And I'd like to thank Tony Brady. He let the game flow along and had no trouble with it. So I just hand the cup over to Owen Smith, to this day. And well done to the guy, hard work.
I'd like to thank our trainers, Andy McGovern, Mark Darren and Dennis Gallen for coming up the last 6 months, twice a week trainers, and the players for coming up, putting in the effort. The sponsors, Mark Maloney, Speedway, Doug Captain, and Pat Storms, Electric. I'd like to thank Kildallan. Played well, didn't give up on, but in the end of the day, we just came out the top. Put in a good game, played right at the end. 3-0 for Kildallan.
I'd like to thank Jim Carroll for training us to talk about the year, and I'd like to thank Peter Smith for sponsoring our jerseys. I'd like to thank Killygarry for a good, hard game. Their forwards was different from the end, I think. So that's it.
the winning management team with me here. First I'll talk to Andres McGovern. Andres, a couple of times through the season it was disappointment for Killygarry against West Cavan opposition. That hoodoo has been well and truly buried today.
Yes indeed. We came here last August on the 16 final against Templeport. We went away empty-handed that day. A couple of weeks later our minor lads were here against Drumlane. We came away empty-handed that day as well. So we said, coming here today, there was no way we're going to go out of here without the cup. And the lads showed it today, the experience of losing the final, I think, against Templeport the last day, stood to them there today, especially in the second half, when they really got going.
I'll move on now to Desi Cahill. Desi, it was pretty even in the early stages, and then within a space of a minute, 2 great Killygarry goals. That really set you up.
Yeah, just after we told the boys at half time, like, they were in a game, that they were coming up here, you know the way boys were hard to settle down and that, but they knew at half time they were in a game, and we told them at half time if they got knuckled down and get stuck into it in the first 10 or 15 minutes and get another couple of scores, that they'll be able to do it.
Now, there was some fantastic performances out there, a great team performance, shall I say, and it's great at the end of a hard year's work to go home with the cup. I said to Philip Finnegan during the game, I would not like to be the one to have to pick man of the match, because every Killygarry player really played their heart out.
Oh yeah, every one of them. Thomas has an old saying there, he says they're all like a cog on the wheel, and it's very true. Like, when they all started to play well and they started to believe in one another and they knew they could do it for one another. Like as Andrew said there, they've been often beaten, a lot of these boys have been beaten in 2 finals. They knew what it took and they just stuck to it and done their job. They done what it was asked them, and what more could they be asked for? Like, and fair play to the boys. They did done the work.
Desi, thanks. Thomas Leonard. Thomas, a man that I've met and talked with in various venues for quite an amount of time about many other things apart from football. Thomas, very pleased with today's result and performance.
Very, very pleased. These lads have trained since last March, April, you know, and I think they were entitled now to this win today. They all played well. We had a chat to them before the match and at half time there, and we put it to them that this is their second final now to be in the year, and if they'd win today, you know, that's in 20 years time or 10 years time, when they'd be having a pint somewhere or something like that, they'd be talking about winning this final, you know. And we said to them, you know, there'd be a terror to having a chat somewhere and be saying that we're betting 2 finals in the 1 year. So I think they listened to us and they went out and they done the job there today. That's what we were just saying there, that every one of them done their job there today, and I think they're a credit to their families, to their parents, and a credit to the club today. They're a great batch of young fellas, and definitely they were entitled to that win there today.
Enjoy the celebrations, Thomas Leonard, Andres McGovern and Desi Cahill. Thanks for taking the time out to come up here to talk to me.
Thanks, Tommy.
With me now I've got Jim Carroll, the Kildallan manager. Jim, for the first 15 minutes things looked okay. Suddenly everything went wrong.
Yeah, the floodgates open all right, Tommy. We're going well for the first 10 or 15 minutes. It was point for point. I think it was 2 points all like into the game 10 minutes ago. 10 minutes at the start of the game. Killygarry got a break up the field, a quick ball came in. A forward picked it up, got through and stuck it in the net. So it wasn't, it led to what it was 1-3 to 2 points at that stage. After another couple of minutes, there came a long ball in, lobbed over the goalie's head and into the back of the net. And our heads were surely down at that stage. Anyhow, the boys knuckled down and they struggled on. We kicked 4 points in concession right after that, and we were straight back in it again. I think it was about 3 points that was in it at this stage. Half-time came. There was the 2 goals again in at half-time. 2 kicks of the ball. The lads were cocky enough at half-time, but the floodgates opened again. There were another couple of goals. So heads went down, lads. It was a matter of just punching in the time from there on. Like, I tell you something, it was a very long second half. I thought the whistle at one stage wasn't going to go at all, lads. They were a far better team on the day, Killygarry. They ran at us, like. Did a lot of runners. We had 2 runners from the middle of the field, and after that, like, it was, I don't know what you say now, it was, chips were down. That's about it, Tommy.
Jim, it's never easy after a defeat to come and talk to the likes of us, but the sportsman that you are, and you do it. Jim, keep them at it. One swallow never made a summer, and one big defeat never made a bad team. Jim, keep them at it. Thanks for talking to me.
Thanks very much, Tommy. Thank you.
So, from Breffney Park in Cavan, we'll say Slán agus Beannacht.